That being the case. You're live. All right. It now being 1:30 on February 18th, 2025, we're going to commence the proceedings before the Special Magistrate for Code Enforcement for the City of Palatka. By way of introduction, my name is Ron Brown. I'm an attorney licensed to practice in the state of Florida, and pursuant to city code and state law, I have been appointed by the Board of City Commissioners for the City of Palatka to preside over today's proceedings. This is not a formal court of law. We are not bound by the formal rules of civil procedure or the formal rules of evidence that you might find in play down at the county courthouse. We are by law, however, required to follow the basic notions of due process and fairness, and to make sure that all evidence that we present is what is called substantial and competent. That is, evidence that would allow a reasonable person to reach a reasonable conclusion concerning the matter at hand. The other requirement is that all the evidence being testimony must be sworn and based on personal knowledge. And what we do as a preliminary is to ask each of the code enforcement officials who will be testifying to have a swearing in as to their testimony. And as we call your case, we'll ask each of you to take an oath also. Who's swearing in today? Mr. Cutright, Ms. Lowe, you're both. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give today should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And let the record show both have answered in the affirmative. What will happen today is that we have 4 cases on our agenda. It is our tradition that we take the cases of those persons who are here in person in the order in which they appear today. And we do have, it looks like, at least 2 sets of respondents today. We will take those cases first and hear the other cases after that. What will happen today is that the city, through their code enforcement officer, will be making a presentation concerning alleged violations of various aspects of the city code. I have not talked to the city about these cases before today. My duty is to listen to and hear what happens today in this hearing and make a decision based on what I see and hear today. And as a result of that, it's very important that we have everyone make sure they can be heard and they have all the questions you have answered, and that we can be able to understand everything that you have to say. If you have some evidence of you want to present in your presentation as respondents, you're going to need to provide us with the copies of that, and we're going to keep them because they will become a part of the official record. You will not get them back. We present them today. Most of the city's evidence will be presented on the screens that you see to my right and my left. If you have difficulty seeing those screens, please let us know. We'll get you some copies, paper copies of the record. What will happen, I think Ms. Lowe, you're going to be handling all of them today. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right, she'll be presenting the case. I may have some questions. Then when you get a chance to participate as respondents, you may present any evidence you have and ask any questions you may have regarding the matter at hand. When it's over, I'll issue a decision concerning whether I believe a violation has occurred. If there is a violation, we will set a time for compliance. And the motivator of all that is that the city usually asks for a fine if compliance is not reached within a certain time. And we'll set that also. We'll have a chance to discuss all that at each individual hearing. So we're going to begin with the first case. The person who is here, looks like this is case number 2024-35. Is that correct, Ms. Lowe?
That's correct, sir.
Property located at 607 Krill Avenue, Palatka, Florida, 32177. Owner of record appears to be Olivia C. Tulloch and Jeremy R. Tulloch. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you, sir, are you a respondent in this case?
Yes.
And what is your name?
Jeremy Brian Tulloch.
And you're one of the owners of the property, 607 Krill.
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you going to be testifying today, I presume?
Most definitely.
Okay. Could you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give today should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Lowe?
Yes, sir. Again, for the record, my name is Christy Lowe, case number 2024-035, 607 Krill Avenue, Palatka, Florida, 32177. And this case was first observed March 13, 2024. The notice for this hearing was sent February 4th, 2025. We did receive a green card. The complex posting was posted February 5th, 2025, and the site posting was posted February 5th, 2025.
May I ask, Mr. Tulloch is here. It looks like the green card was not signed. Is that correct?
It was signed.
It was signed? Okay, I didn't see a copy of it. Very well. And you posted the property also?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Now, you have two violations, is that correct?
That's correct, sir. We have two violations.
One of them was 30-169 of the city code, building fronts and sides abutting streets or public areas, mold and mildew, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And the other was also section, excuse me, are there two or three?
There's two.
Which is the second?
Section 30-169 and section 30-170.
70 has to do with a fresh even coat of paint.
That's correct, sir.
And just for the record, it looks like the pertinent section of 30-169 regarding the mildew is subsection D of that chapter. It says mildew should be cleaned from buildings having street visibility, and loose wires such as TV shall be secured. No, do you have the rest of the ordinance?
On which one, sir?
Yeah. Make sure we got it all out there. It looked like it got cut off. Hang on.
On
Here it
30-169.
Here it is, here it is. It's on the connector. No more than 10% of the buildings having street visibility should have mildew, correct?
That's correct,
All
sir.
right. And then as to 30-170, rear and side walls of all structures should be repaired and painted to present a neat and fresh appearance. Rear walls should be painted to cover evenly all miscellaneous patch and filled areas, or stucco to present an even uniform surface. All right.
Yes, sir. This is going to be photo 1A. It was taken on March 13th, 2024.
And may I inquire, did you take all the photos you're about to show us?
Yes, sir, I did.
And do the photos accurately represent the condition of the property on the date in which you took them?
On the date that I took
right.
it. Yes, sir.
Please proceed.
So this just shows where the paint is chipping and fading away. You got the columns and then the front of the house.
So basically, you're looking at looks like where the stucco is gone from the
Yes, sir.
house on the bottom of the columns on the left, center and left of the front of the, is this the front of the house?
That's the front. Yes, sir.
This is the Krill Avenue side?
Yes, sir.
Anything else in that photo?
Not in that photo. It just needs to be fresh coat of paint.
Well, this says rear, okay. Is this about rear and side walls?
It's, well, with rear and side walls, it
I'm just
says,
looking at what it said on the photo.
yes, sir. It shall be painted to present a neat and fresh appearance.
But which side of the house is this?
This is the front.
All right. Only reason I'm asking, 170 deals with rear and side walls.
You're correct.
Okay.
And this one's going to be 1B, taken on January 29th, 2025. And you can see a little bit more on this picture. You have the side. Basically, the whole house, the paint is chipping and fading away. Next photo, please. And this is going to be 2A, taken on March 13th. It's the side of the right side of the house. You can see it a little bit more in 2A, but the paint is chipping away on the walls. You'll go to the next photo, please, ma'am. You can see where the paint is coming off the wood.
So when we're looking at, this is, where are you standing when you took the photo?
I'm standing on the sidewalk right in front of my car.
And this is the right side elevation of the
Yes,
house?
sir.
Right. And so the problem there is inconsistent paint color?
It's just faded and peeling. So
Faded?
it's faded and peeling, yes, sir. So it just needs a fresh, even coat of paint.
Pilling as in just got holes?
It's coming off the wood.
Okay. So what remedy is the city looking for there?
Just a fresh, even coat of paint, sir.
All right, next.
Yes, sir. 3A, please. Next photo. So this is going to be taken on March 13th, 2024, and it just shows mold and mildew. You can see it from the street from Krill Avenue, and it's the mold trim around the whole structure of the house. It's known as a transition trim from the roof. Just needs to be cleaned up.
All right. So that's a year ago? almost?
Yes, sir.
What's it look like today? Do you have anything?
If you go to the next photo, please.
Okay.
This was taken January 29th, 2025.
Looks as 3B.
Yes, sir. You can still see the mold and mildew on the transition trim.
So basically, we're just looking at the soffit
Yes, sir.
on the eaves on the right side of the front gable over, is that correct?
It's actually through, the next photo shows you how it goes up. So it's pretty, yes, sir, right
All
there.
right, the edge of the roof
Yes, sir.
on the right side of the house. And that just needs to be cleaned?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And that's going to be all the photos, sir.
So where the city is, clean the soffit on the front of the house on the right side. Repaint the side of the house, is it the entire side of the house?
Yes, sir.
On the right elevation. Not the front elevation, but the right elevation.
Basically,
side.
yes, both sides in the front of the house need to be painted.
To the front of the house also?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then as to the mildew, let's see, as to the repair, you're looking at the columns on the front?
Yes,
the
sir.
Stucco, that's it?
Yes, sir.
And the paint on the front, does it need to be redone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had a chance to talk with Mr. Tulloch about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you gotten some kind of understanding what's going to happen?
Yes, sir. I've actually spoke to his wife. This is the first time we've actually met in person. They reside out of state.
Was this a result of a complaint?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Mr. Tulloch, where the city is, I guess you've heard, is that basically wants to see parts of the house pressure washed and parts of the front of the house with the stucco repair and basically have it repainted on a couple of sides. Do you have a response to any of that?
Okay, it's not a problem. I'm gonna be honest, the city finally got itself together and quit fighting amongst itself. Because the reason this house hasn't been touched in 20 years is because when I put the shed in the backyard and painted it the purple color I did, I received a $500 fine in the mail about 21 years ago over some old biddies having a little pee contest of who was gonna have what going on in the neighborhood. So I decided I'd wait them out till they died. So if the city wants the house nice, I got no problem making it nice.
Oh, well, I appreciate the history lesson, but with
I've
what we're
already got
looking
someone
at,
working on it.
well, I understand that.
So,
I'm just trying to gauge it. The city's basically saying, what are we looking at, Ms. Lowe, for time?
120 days, sir.
Can you get this done in 120 days?
easily.
All right. I mean, do you have any questions or comments about any of what the city's saying about what needs to be
All of
done?
This is very straightforward and easy to get
Okay.
done. None of this is complicated. All this has been is just a begrudge from me.
I'm sorry you've been having to go through 21 years of this.
Well, when you buy your first house and the first thing that happens is somebody in the neighborhood decides to try to fine you when you are trying to improve the neighborhood, you kind of shut down and just move.
We'll look at it this way. You could live in an area with a homeowners association.
No, I can't. Absolutely not.
It could be more difficult.
This is gonna be easy.
Do we, something we need to address?
No.
Okay. Well, where I am, it looks like this is basically cosmetic issues with exception for the stucco on the front. And if everyone's in agreement that those are the issues and that what needs to be done in 120 days is a very generous
That's
chance to
easy.
fix it. Basically, based on those two things, I'm going to go ahead and find that there is a violation of section 30-169 regarding mold and mildew on the entire right side elevation of the house, on the soffit, on the front right side of the house, as well as on the front of the house, and it basically needs to be cleaned and repainted. And then there's some stucco work needs to be done on the front columns that need to be fixed and painted a consistent color.
Yes.
All right, that within 120 days, which would be June 18th, 2025. There's no fine today.
Okay.
Okay, the fine would kick in on June 19th, 2025 in
It's
the
not
event of
gonna sell the house on the
non-compliance.
18th?
Yeah, well, I understand.
I'm just kidding.
I appreciate you coming here. You, these things are sometimes, fraught with their own little stories that we have to address. But I appreciate you coming here and your patience with it all. Stay in touch with Ms. Lowe, and as soon as you get
Oh, yeah.
the job done, let her know, and she'll come out and the compliance will take care of you. You won't have to come back here.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Listen, thank you very much.
No, thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate your
sir.
time today.
Thank you,
Glad-
Mr. Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you.
Next on the agenda will be C, the 415.
415 Bronson.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Hi, come on up. We're next going to call case 2024-168. This is property located at 415 Bronson Street, Palatka. The owner of record appears to be Nancy M. Burke. Are you Miss Burke? Have I seen you before here? No, okay. And so you are the owner of the property. Will anybody else be testifying other than you today? Could you come up and identify yourself, sir? Okay. What will you be adding to today's understanding? What's your testimony going to be about?
I'm the one that is all over.
All right, will both of you be testifying?
Yeah.
All right, could you both come up? You've identified yourself. Could you raise your right hands for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give today should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, you guys have a seat.
Yeah.
Ms. Burke, since you're the owner of record, you might want to just say, I'm gonna let Ms. Lowe go ahead and make her presentation first, and then when she's done, you can make any presentation you wish to make, ask any questions you wish to ask, make any comments you want to say, present any evidence you want to present with regard to that. And this is a case involving, it looks like, the first time I've seen this one, section 94-192, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
A major recreational equipment on the property defined as boats, trailers, travel trailers, pickup campers. No major recreational equipment shall be used for living, sleeping, or housekeeping. And the allegation is that a person or persons are residing in a recreational camper on this property. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Is there a zoning limitation on the application of this code? Is residentially zoned lot? What's the zoning of this?
R3,
Three.
residential.
So there was an exception for R4, but in R3 is not permitted
No,
under the
sir.
code. So this is an R3 zone
Yes, sir.
on Bronson Street. All right. Go ahead and make your presentation for me.
Yes, sir. Again, for the record, Christy Lowe, case number 2024-168, 415 Bronson Street, Palatka, Florida, 32177. And this was first observed 11/25/2024. Notice for this hearing was sent 2/4/2025. I personally did not receive a green card back. It was posted, complex posting 2/5/2025 and site posting 2/5/2025. Also, sir, this case was transitioned to myself from Officer David Green on February 4th, 2025.
But you're the one with the personal knowledge, correct?
I am, yes, sir, now.
All right. Meets the standard. All right. Let me do a little due diligence, due process, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Burke, the city is required under state law to try to notify you in a couple of ways. One is by certified mail at the official address of record maintained by the property appraiser and the tax collector. Apparently that address is the address of the property at 415 Bronson Street at 32177 zip code. Is that your mailing address?
Yes.
Okay, can you speak up a little bit louder?
Yes, sir.
All right, they're recording this, and that's the official record of the hearing is a recording, so you need to be heard. You might want to get closer to the mic. Some microphones, tend to work better when you get closer to them. You can normally get your mail there?
Yes,
All right. Did you remember getting a certified letter?
I didn't bring them with me.
Oh, you
but
got the letter?
I've got that and
Oh.
I've got a certified,
Okay.
but they're at home.
What happened is that the green card that the postal service sent back apparently didn't come back. Is that correct?
No, sir.
I was just wondering, did you remember signing a little green postcard?
No, we weren't home when they came and
Oh.
they sent it back to the post office.
Oh, okay, so you really didn't
And,
get,
young Ed went and picked it up.
all right, so you did get that. When she didn't get the green card back, that's why she posted the property. That's the alternative notice under state law,
ma'am.
just so you know.
Okay.
But we wanted you to know that they apparently tried to deliver it and you did get it, but somehow they didn't give you the notice that you got. fine, we're good. You're here. This
Yes.
is the main thing. And that's one thing we want to make sure that you know about this, you know about the hearing, and you're here. And that's happened. All right, Ms. Lowe is now going to go over the violation. Apparently, there's only one violation, and it had to do with the sleeping or residing in a recreational camp.
That's correct, sir.
All right. You're about to show us some photographs?
Yes, sir.
Did you take the photographs?
I took the photographs in 1B.
Okay,
The original 1A was taken by Officer David Green.
all right. And he's no longer with the city, is that
No, sir,
correct?
he's not.
All right. When you show me the photographs, would you please identify the photographs?
Yes, sir, I
Mr.
will.
Green took and tell me, when was the last time you were at the property?
So this photograph here was taken by Mr. Green, 1A. And then
Well,
I
my
was
question-
at
Back up. My question was, when was the last time you were at the property viewing?
February 13th, 2025.
Okay. So you can take a look at these photographs and see whether the photographs actually represent the condition of the property on February
That's correct, sir.
13th of this year. All right. Please proceed. We're looking at 1B.
So yes, sir, on 1B, I was able to clear up any trash and debris. That was the other code on this, prior to coming to this hearing. So the only code I have right now is the allegation of the person residing in recreational camper, which is the camper with the arrows are pointed.
So you made some progress on the other items.
That's correct,
Well,
sir.
congratulations to all involved. All right, show me about the camper.
So the allegations is the subject living in the camper. And if you go to, scroll up, please. Right there, we have a Palatka Police Department did a welfare check on the subject sleeping in the camper, and he was inside of the camper at the time, and they did a welfare check. And then we also have if you go up one more, we have a letter from the property owner stating that the subject resides in the camper. That's my evidence, sir.
Okay. And are these official records of the city?
Yes, sir, they're in the,
These are true and correct copies of the
Yes, sir.
official records of the city? So what did you learn as a result of the?
there is a
police invest-
subject residing in the camper.
Do you know who it was?
Yes, sir, I apologize. Mr. Edward Murphy.
And that, Ms. Murphy, that is you, sir.
Yes, sir.
He is nodding his head as in affirmance. So the police found Mr. Murphy there, and then there's a letter from the owner.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Burke, are you the owner and you sent the letter?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So anything else you have?
No, sir, that's the evidence I have.
So let me ask Ms. Burke, is there any question here that Mr. Murphy's living in this camper on your property?
No, I've allowed him to be there.
Okay.
He has a lot of health issues and needs to be, his son takes care of it. Back and forth to doctors and hospital. I mean, he's been in the hospital.
We turned in 1 year hospital records.
You need,
I'm
they
sorry.
need, can you pick him up at all? Can you hear that? Is that showing up?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you hear him there? As long as you can pick him up, he's okay to sit down. I just want to make sure you can be heard and they can record what you're saying.
I have to. We
Right.
turned in a year's worth of hospital records. And it's a stack like this already that they have already received.
Yeah, Mr. Green has him.
Mr. Green has them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
But they're here somewhere. Yeah.
here's the only problem that I have here. This gets to me, city got a complaint, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Somebody complained.
Yeah, we know who it was.
And that's just the way it is. If it's any comfort to you, the legislature 4 years ago changed the law and made it illegal to file an anonymous code enforcement complaint. If you file one, you have to put up your name and address. So fine, somebody complained.
Yeah, we know. who
And
it
it
was.
looks to me like there's a violation of the wording of the ordinance that says you can't live on an RV or a trailer on this residentially zoned property.
I understand that. I've been there for 3 years going on.
Oh, I
4 years
understand.
now.
It's,
Nobody's ever complained. The gentleman across the street is the one that started all this. After he pulled the gun on my son. After he slandered him all over Facebook. After he threatened to kill me. He pulled my power pole up out of the ground, unplugged it. I had no oxygen. I about died that night. and an electric recliner that would recline back. I had to roll out of that on the floor, get to my phone to call my son. He attempted to kill me.
And I called the police, that was 3:30 in the morning.
Okay, that's fine. Let me. This makes it hard and
I know.
it makes it hard in a way because only thing I'm really here to look at today is
Live in the camera. I
what
understand.
this little issue is. We got this little narrow issue that says you're not supposed to be living
Well, we.
in this vehicle on this property.
We did file a variance with the variance board, they're supposed to tell us what we could do for a detached mother-in-law suite. And I'm so sorry, I turned that off, I thought. And.
Well, the
that-
reason why he's not in the house is because my daughter and her two children and Ed live there. I have no bedroom for him.
And I'm on a oxygen 24/7. I carry around a 25-foot hose that I'm attached to. Somebody trips over that, they're getting hurt.
Well,
And I have nowhere to go. I'm not gonna lie about anything. If we can figure out what the city would let us do, we would to make it where it goes in their guidelines, you know.
and that's something that you'd have to work out with the city on seeing just what can be done.
And it was supposed to come before we see you.
So, sir, if I may briefly
Sure.
interject, and I have the clerk running over to get planning to help corroborate this, but the advice to this particular citizen has been to go apply for a variance that would allow, given the circumstances and the undue hardship that this gentleman is experiencing, to apply for an exception, a variance to the code. We have not had that hearing yet before the planning board, so if you can keep that in mind in terms of the timing for coming into compliance.
When will it be heard?
And that is why I have asked over.
I'm there every day and I'm worried about being out.
Well, this isn't about you at this point. Here's the thing, you made the application for the variance? All right. And is the application complete? Do you know?
I haven't heard anything back from him.
Is Mr. Cutright trying to sort out, or the clerk trying to sort
We're
out?
trying to get an answer for you right now. Okay, thank you. So we should know in just a minute. The planning director is heading over, but typically the planning board meets once a month. So it would at least be a 30-day.
Well, here's what, well, they were asking for 120. So here's where I think this is going to end up. I want to hear from the planning board person to make sure we've got all the information we need in front of us. So you've apparently been a good egg in trying to resolve the problem. A lot of times people come before me and the reason they're here is because no one's been able to get cooperation in trying to resolve the problem. So at least you're going that direction. The issue now appears to be getting it done in some kind of efficient way.
Well,
The city is, hang on, the city has asked for 120 days for compliance. I think that's probably plenty to do. If that happens and you can get it would be a variance or an exception? Probably an exception.
I would have to defer to the
Yeah,
planning department
yeah.
on that.
And those terms mean something to Ms. West and me as attorneys because they have different requirements and they mean different things. But if you can get that done, that would solve the problem. There's no fine. If I'm probably going to be forced to find it's here. There is a violation. So I'm going to find there's a violation. The good news for you is, unlike other jurisdictions, there's no administrative fee that you pay for being here today. And there's no fine that starts running, for 4 months down the road. So as long as you're making good progress, most of the time when things get in front of me, it's because they haven't been able to make progress. And we're trying to get some motivation. You're there. Is this someone who can provide assistance?
Yes, sir. This is our
Could you
planning
come on up?
director.
Could you come on up, please?
Sure.
And could you take the mic for me? You're gonna get to testify, bless you. Could you give your name and your
Yeah.
place of business?
Lorenzo Aguemo, planning director for the city. Excuse me.
Could you take your right? Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you give today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
This is the property at 415 Bronson Street owned by Miss Burke. Mr. Murphy here has apparently been living in a trailer RV type of facility on this property in violation of section 94-192 of the code. He's indicated he's made an application for either a variance or an exception. I'm not sure which one it would be. And we're trying to get a grip on how long that will take and whether that application is satisfactory at this point.
Well, the first thing, they did put an application for a variance. Excuse me. However, the application has not been processed yet. And the reason for not being processed is because we cannot grant a variance for a use. You can only deviate from the standard from zoning. And that's the reason we haven't processed the variance. It cannot be varied, basically, the use.
So there's no variance available?
No.
Is there an exception available?
The only way out would be to get a letter from either from me, the city, and they appeal that. And as an appeal, then the planning board may have.
The appeal of the
authority.
variance denial.
Well, not a variance. Yes, yeah, exactly. They put a variance, I would deny it. They can appeal that to the planning board, and the planning board as an appeal could grant the variance.
Okay. How long will that take?
The planning board meets once a month. The next meeting is March 4th, and there's no time for that agenda.
So it'd be in April.
It will be in April 1st.
Is 120 days enough to get it through the planning and board appeal?
Yes,
Okay.
I will
What-
have to issue the letter of denial, and then they have to appeal that. And then we'll take it, to the planning board.
So Ms. Burke and Mr. Murphy, here's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
Is that, yes, they got your application. B, unfortunately, they're not going to approve it. But it means C, your only option at that point is to appeal that denial to the planning board at their meeting in April. And then you have to decide what they want to do at that level.
okay.
Does the city commission get a shot at this at the planning board?
I don't think so, unless
No, so-
someone appeals unless we appeal the decision from the planning board, then it goes to the city commission.
All right.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. So basically the 120 days is sufficient to get all the appeals that would be available to the property owner at this point.
I believe so, yes.
And so you know, Ms. Burke, this is your appeal. You're the owner.
Where do I go to?
Well, they've already filed something. Did you sign off allowing him to file something on this? Mr. Murphy, that is?
Yeah, we do have the application.
Okay, you've got everything you need.
We haven't charged the fee for the
Right.
variance yet.
So you need to charge the fee? You need to pay the fee?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm just, all
All
I'm
I'm
trying.
saying is we haven't,
and understand-
we haven't processed,
All I'm trying to do is sort out what needs to be done to get this process going.
Yeah.
Because if 120 days is fine, I found that there's a violation. I'm going to give him 120 days to go through the variance application process and appeal, which seems to be sufficient time under the way the city works.
Yeah, it is.
If he receives some kind of approval of the variance, if you will, by the planning and zoning board, then things are all good. You won't have to come back here. If you don't get approval and the variance is denied by the planning and zoning board, you can be out of compliance come March, June 18th. Okay? At that point in time, a fine could start
Yeah, I don't
accruing on
want
your
that.
property. Well, understand, it goes against the property. Okay.
I don't want anything to happen.
Oh, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm just making sure everybody understands what we're dealing
Yeah.
with here. So she's gonna get an order regarding this outcome. You got the process. You need to make sure the process, that whatever fees need to be paid, and the process proceeds as quickly as possible. Well, you pay the fee, he's probably gonna deny it immediately, and you can file an application to go to the planning and zoning board at their April meeting. It's probably the first week in April, it sounds like.
April 1st.
April 1st. I'll let that one go. In terms of good karma. But on April 1st, there'll be the meeting, but you got to get the work done now to get to that meeting. At that point in time, they'll issue an order, they'll issue a result that day. And you'll know at that point what the situation is. Okay?
Can I say something? that's
Sure, come on up.
really-
Or just stay there. We can hear you. Go ahead.
I understand you can't live in the trailer. I understand that. If there was, there's a shed there. Could I stay in the shed?
And I'm not gonna be the one who can answer that for you. You're gonna have to work with the city on what the options are.
I'm just trying to figure out.
I understand. I understand.
I can't get any help from HUD. I'm a convicted felon. I can't get in any rental assistance places. And I get $1,300 a month.
And again, I appreciate a really unfortunate collection of issues that have just all come down on you at once. This is unusual to have that many at one time, but it's what you got to deal with. Right now, you've got a path and you can
Right.
see if you can make it work.
That's all we can do.
That's where you are right now. And if that path doesn't work, then you need to start working with the city. Ms. Lowe is probably going to be your best contact point at this point to try to resolve this. I'm sure she appreciates me saying that, but nonetheless, it probably is because she's the one that would have to make a decision about any future code enforcement. Ms. Burke, you just need to make sure this stays off of your property as an issue and get this variance process going. And then before June 18th, we got to find some resolution. Okay, if you get approval in April, then all is good. But if you don't, you still got May and April, May, and half of June to try to see if you can work something out. So right now you're good till June 8th. Oh, no one doubts that, Mr. Murphy. No one doubts that at all. Again, this is not a resource where you can solve any other problem. The only thing I can really decide today is whether there's a violation and what to do. Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like you got a plan. You got the people, the key people involved. So the next question is, see what happens at planning and zoning.
If you guys could maybe take this
Yeah,
conversation.
Okay, let's
outside.
conclude the hearing at 2:03. That's hearing's concluded. You can talk all you want now, but this hearing's concluded. All
So
right.
now, what does she have to do now? Does Nancy have to go over there? and
What you should do after this meeting is talk with this gentleman.
Yeah,
Now, I think there's some money's got to change hands. That's going to, because if you don't pay the fee, you can't even apply for the variance. He's going to turn it down when you apply for it, but that opens the door for the appeal to planning and zoning. He's not allowed, he takes a look at your application, he takes a look at the ordinance, and he says whether or not this qualifies for a variance. And that's his decision. Okay? And they'll tell you how to start that appeal process. But you need to talk with him, Stu, you need to talk with him, see about getting the fee paid for the variance. He'll let you know when he turns it down. It sounds like he's going to. And then he'll show you how to make the appeal to planning and zoning. And then you need to make that appeal. There's going to be some work involved with that. And you're going to have to appear in front of planning and zoning, try to convince them you've got a good legal way to solve this problem. And I will give you a piece of advice. I'm not your attorney. We're not on the record anymore. And Ms. West and I can tell you the same thing. When you go in front of somebody who's going to make a decision and it involves something legal, there are two things you got to do. One, you got to make them want to vote for you.
yes,
You got to give them a legal way to do it.
I understand that.
Okay? All right.
I do understand.
Why don't you guys go and have a talk? We're going to hear the next case.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. And I'm sorry it's been difficult.
Your 21st Street, right? Sure, like that, we do. Put an extra room down there, and welcome to stay there.
They don't send the correspondence to me, they keep sending it to the next, so I just got notified at 2:30. I have a meeting with you. Oh, you don't need me to be here. No, you're not going to be here. Very good.
Hello, Mr. Kastner.
I just want to let you know you're.
And I got that guy room to say, never resolve this problem.
Probably took a lot off their heart. So, yeah, I'll be swinging by to talk to you, Mr. John. Yes, sir. Have a good afternoon.
Do you ever watch? Oh, I got. We're still being broadcast. All right, let's go to the next case.
Yes, sir.
This is case 2024-88, property at 607 North 18th Street, Palatka. Is that correct, Ms. Love?
That's correct, sir.
Hang on, let me ask if this is apparently case 2024-88, owner of Mary Ward and Calvin Starling as tenants in common. Are Mary Ward or Calvin Starling or anyone representing either of them present today? Okay, seeing and hearing no one. Ms. Love?
Yes, sir. For the record, Christy Lowe, City of Palatka, case number 2024-088, address is 607 North 18th Street, Palatka, Florida, 32177. This was first observed April 24th, 2024. Notice for this hearing was sent February 4th, 2025. I have received no green card. The complex posting was posted 2/5/2025, and also site posted it on February 5th, 2025.
And the address to which the certified letter was sent was the address of the property, is that correct? 607 North 18th Street, Palatka, 32177?
That's correct, sir.
And that's the official address of record on the property appraiser and tax collector's roll.
That's correct, sir.
You got no response to the letter, no green card back,
No,
no
sir.
signed green card back.
No, sir.
Any contact with either Mary Ward or Calvin Starling or anyone representing them?
No, sir. The first time that I left a card on the gate, I come back and there was a chain on the gate. So I've had no contact. I have tried to locate them, but nothing.
Have you seen anyone on the property on the time?
No,
you
sir.
Visited the property?
I've talked to the food pantry across the street. I've talked to the neighbors. I've talked to everybody on that block, and nobody has seen them since they purchased the property.
Okay. How long ago was that? Do you know?
2 years.
2 years, okay. And you posted the property in accordance with state statute and you have your affidavit of service included in the record.
I do, sir. And we also place it in the Palatka Daily News.
Okay.
Ms. Jessie?
And you have 4 alleged violations of
That's
code, is
correct,
that
sir.
correct? And for the record, it looks like 30-169 related to building fronts and sides abutting streets or public areas with mold and mildew on 45% of the structure as seen from 18th Street, is that correct?
Yes, sir. You can
Right.
see it from North 18th Street.
30-32A, prohibited conditions and public nuisances, having trash, junk, debris, living and non-living plant material on the property. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And 30-32A, also prohibited conditions and public nuisances, the second paragraph, excessive and unintended growth of grass, weeds, brush, and branches, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And 30-32A, paragraph 12, failure owner to keep any sidewalk abutting thereon and all parkways to the curb line, free and clear of all weeds, undergrowth, rubbish, and debris.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, this is about trash, junk, and vegetation and mold and mildew on 45% of the structure as seen from 18th Street.
Yes, sir. That's
All right.
correct.
You have some demonstrative evidence for us?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you
I did.
take the photographs you're about to show us?
Yes, sir, I did.
And do the photographs accurately represent the condition of the property on date in which you took them?
Yes, sir, they do.
All right, please proceed.
So this was taken on April
Number
24th.
1A.
1A, yes, sir. Taken on April 24th, 2004. And if you can see all the dark areas, the blue areas with the dark area, that is all mold. And if you'll go to 1B, please. I tried to get more of an open
Okay,
area.
go back to one, previous one. All right, so the arrows are pointing to mildew,
Mildew, mold and
and
mildew.
this is
Yes,
seen
sir.
from 18th Street.
Yes, sir.
And so it's the soffit area,
Yes, sir. The chimney and
the
the,
chimney,
the brick by the door to the
Okay.
right.
and why is that? What makes you think that's 45% of the,
So if you go to the next photo,
okay,
1B, I tried to open it up a little bit more. The mold and mildew is all about from 8 bricks up all the way down.
mhm,
And from the whole trim of the front of the house and the side, and then the transition from the top of the roof, it's all mold, and then the whole chimney is mold and mildew.
so basically this is about mold, and again, you're standing on 18th Street when you're
Yes, sir, I
taking
am.
this photo,
Yes, sir.
all right?
If you'll go
next,
to 2A, please. Thank you, ma'am. So
2A.
yes, sir. This photograph was taken April 24, 2004. Prohibited conditions and public nuisance, trash, junk or debris, non-living. You have the stove, a couch, and some other debris on the ground that's visible from North 18th Street.
And this is 30-32A,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
and this would be what, subparagraph 1
I
or
believe
12?
it's,
Which one is it?
I believe it is at 32A.
This might be 1, accumulation of trash, junk or debris, living and
Non-living.
plant material.
Yes, sir. It is going to be the 3032A1. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're correct.
And this is 2B.
This is going to be 2B. If you'll look, I just did an up close picture more of where you could see the actual stove and then, the little kitty cat on the couch.
Basically, it's an appliance and a couch.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
If you go to 3A. This here is going to show excessive and unattended growth, grass, weeds, brush, branches, and other growth on the property.
So you're looking at 30-32A, 2, subparagraph 2. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It was taken April
So what is
24.
the standard for bringing this vegetative growth under control?
Yes, sir. So if you go to 3B, please.
Okay.
You have my ruler. It's 18 inches or more. My ruler is 36 inches, and you can see where the growth is all over 36 inches.
And that's the limit under the code?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the yardstick.
Yes, sir. If you'll go to 4A, please.
Was this like a police procedural where you?
I'm sorry.
Was this like a police procedural where you go out and mark everything and have?
I always have footprints,
see.
rulers.
Okay.
It's hard habits to break. So if you're looking at 4A was taken April 24th, 2002. It's hard to see in the shade, but there was some cans and some trash. There's debris. The tree limbs have all grown into the roadway. You can see it a little bit more clear in 4B. The
They've
neighbor-
grown into the roadway?
Yes, sir. The neighbor did go over there and trim it up, but I wanted to show where it's still coming out. The neighbor that lives at 605 went and picked up all the trash and tried to rake everything up, but it's still overgrown.
It's an interesting question. So it's not the trunk of, what is this, a palm?
So there's like a walkway.
So it's grown over the
It's growing
walkway?
over the curb line walkway. Yes, sir. And that was one of the main
So I'm
complaints.
curious, I'm curious. So is that the public's walkway?
So yes, sir, that's why I went with 12, failure of owner of land to keep any sidewalk abutting thereon and all parkways to the curb line free and clear of all weeds, undergrowth, rubbish, trash, and debris.
I think it's the first time I've seen one where we've had aerial overhang. And the city's taking position, that's the responsibility of the owner based on the language of 30-32A12.
Yes, sir. And they have trimmed some of it
Interesting.
up so the garbage truck can get through, but it was pretty, it looks a lot better now, but
So how high do they need to cut this?
at least where the kids can walk under to get to the school bus instead of walking in the middle of the road.
Just cut the lower frond so that passengers can,
Yes, sir.
pedestrians can walk under them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
And that's all I have, sir.
So basically I'm looking at these palm fronds over the sidewalk. And they just need to be cut 7 feet or 8 feet or so.
Yes, sir.
So that's a fairly simple solution.
Yes,
at
sir,
this
it is.
point. Then going back, and there are some man-made items in the yard that need to be removed.
That's correct, sir.
The stove, the sofa, whatever. The rest of it appears to be vegetation that needs to be trimmed within what, 36 inches?
It's 18 inches. Yes, sir.
18 inches, all right. And then finally, this mold and mildew that is on the side of the building. And
It's-
then there was another one on the front of the building, is that correct?
It's just a tiny bit, but that's technically what
Mostly
they
the
consider
side
the
of the
front of the
building.
house. Yes, sir.
As seen from 18th Street.
That's correct, sir.
All right. It- How much time are you asking for?
I was giving them 30 days to get the trash and debris and to pressure wash the house.
Okay, and that's all that'd be required.
Yes, sir.
And get the fronds cut out over the
Yes, sir.
sidewalk. All right, last call for Mary Ward or Calvin Starling, or anyone representing either Mary Ward or Calvin Starling. Seeing and hearing no one, and find that due process has been satisfied by the appropriate posting of the property in accordance with state statute, and finding that there is substantial and competent evidence to support a finding of violations of section 30-169, subsection D of the city code, to the presence of mold and mildew on the side of the house, as seen from 18th Street, which requires pressure washing. Finding there's a violation of 30-32A, prohibited conditions and nuisances, subsection 1 of that statute, due to the accumulation of man-made items such as stove and sofa on the property, which needs to be removed. A violation of 30-32A, prohibited conditions of public nuisances, the second paragraph of that statute ordinance, due to excessive or unintended growth of grass, weeds, brush, and branches, which needs to be reduced to a height of 18 inches. Is that correct?
That is correct,
At
sir.
minimum. And finally, a violation of 30-32A, prohibited conditions and public nuisances, subparagraph 12, having to do with some palm fronds that go over the sidewalk between the property line and the curb. Those fronds need to be cut to allow at least 8 foot clearance.
That's correct, sir.
All right. We are in order of finding the violations, requiring that the owner address them and bring the property into compliance within 30 days of today's hearing. That will be by the end of business, March 20th, 2025. In the event of non-compliance, a fine of $100 per day shall begin to accrue on Friday, March 21st, 2025. Okay. Last case.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have case 2024-57, property located at 1315 Laurel Street in Palatka, 32177. Owners are Principal Partners Group LLC. Is there anyone here who is representing Principal Partners Group LLC? Seeing and hearing no one, Ms. Lowe?
Yes, sir. For the record, Christy Lowe, City of Palatka, case number 2024-057, 1315 Laurel Street, Palatka, Florida. This case is coming up for its second hearing to have an official lien and the fines placed on the said property of 1315 Laurel Street, sir.
All right, and doing some due process due diligence. You attempted certified mail
Yes, sir.
at the address of 11528 West State Street, Suite 1061, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33355, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And that's the official address of record on the property appraiser and tax collector's rolls.
Yes, sir.
And you did not get a green card back?
We did get one back.
Was it signed?
It was signed, yes, sir.
Hang on a
We
second.
just didn't get the second one back yet.
Thank you. It's like Ann, something that starts with an M. Have you had any contact with anyone who represents?
Yes,
Principal
sir, we
Partners
have.
Group? And was that contact with whom and when, if you know?
So the day that I posted the property, I guess a maintenance or property manager showed up and they spoke with Mr. Eddie and his, the LLC at this time says they wanted just to board it up and they don't have no plans for the structure.
Okay. And did they do that?
They did board it up. It's still not completely boarded. It's from a burnt house. This was originally David Green's case. Mr. Eddie asked them about the trash and debris, and they still have some trash and debris and still has some openings in the home that needs to be boarded up.
But you have had contact with them?
Yes, sir,
They
we
knew
have.
about today's hearing.
They did know about today's hearing.
And did they indicate whether they would attend or not?
No, sir, they didn't say.
Okay. And you did post the property and you have your affidavit of service included in the record.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you claim 3 violations, 30-169, building fronts and sides abutting streets or public areas due to a deteriorating and burned structure. 30-32A1, prohibited conditions and public nuisances, trash and debris primarily man-made. Is that correct?
That's correct. And number 3, I was able to close that the day that they were out there working on the property.
Okay. And then 30-176, exterior property areas. On that one, you said it's closed?
I closed that one, yes, sir.
Okay, so they did respond to your initial inquiry and what did they do, pressure wash the house?
It was a little shed.
Okay. So basically, we're looking at 2 alleged violations.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you take some photographs for us?
I did, sir.
And did you take them yourself?
Not the one, B I didn't. I did 1C.
One C?
Yes, sir.
And as to 1B, can you verify that the photograph represents the condition of the property on your last visit?
Yes, sir, I
When was
can.
your last visit?
My last visit was January 29th, 2025.
All right, this photograph was taken also on that date?
Yes, sir. I officially took this case over from Mr. Green on January 29th, 2025.
Right, so go back to the previous photo for a moment. So is this the condition of the property before it was boarded up?
Yes, sir. June
Right.
13th, 2024 by Officer Green.
So in this house is there anything inside the house other than just the trusses? I
It
mean,
pretty much was burnt from the rear to the
I'm
end.
just curious what's holding it up. It's just,
Some bricks.
is it brick structure? Is it got
It's got
2x4s?
It's got some brick walls. There's still some structure in the middle that's actually holding it up. And the owner, as of right now, doesn't know what he wants to do with the building. If he wants
Is the
to,
property completely fenced in?
it is fenced in, yes,
All right.
sir.
So as a result of your first contact with the owner, go to the next photo. They boarded it up.
So they did board some of it up, but they still left a lot of gaps that, kids are still getting into the house. So it's not boarded up completely. They boarded up the majority of it, but where the one arrow is, kids had a ladder up there and they were actually getting into the
I
house
was just
still.
gonna say how they got in the holes.
Yes.
So basically, they do have it boarded up. Do you know why they left the holes in it?
They didn't say, I guess they're not from here or not from Palatka. They're in Fort Lauderdale. So they're having somebody come by and do the work. So when I talked to them the other day, they told me they would have all this done and it wasn't done. Like there's,
So basically, they need to fill the holes in the board.
correct, sir, where it cannot be
And that will
accessible.
satisfy the city's concerns about the deteriorating structure.
That's correct, sir.
All right. As to the trash and debris issue that remains, you got something on, okay.
I do,
This is
sir.
2B,
Yes, that's one of Mr. Green's photos.
and this photo looks like it was taken.
June 13th, 2024 by
Okay.
Mr. Green.
What does the property look like today?
So if you go to the next photo,
Okay,
2C, I took this one on January 29th, where the top arrow is and the side arrow is, all that is open.
so that needs to be closed.
That needs to be closed. Yes,
So you
sir.
look at 2 places, one on the front right side corner of the house.
Yes, sir.
And then underneath the right elevation roof line,
Yes, sir.
and those are both open areas.
They're all open. Yes, sir.
I mean, has anybody seen kids climbing up?
They
on it?
have. That's what they keep calling.
All right. So those areas need to be closed.
Yes, sir.
What about vegetation?
So right now, that vegetation has all been cleaned up. That was taken on June 13th, 2024 by Mr. Green.
Okay, what's it look like today?
Right now, if you go to 3C, please, that's mine, January 29th. They have boarded most of those side up. There's only one entry where it's going down. There's a big hole. They did try to pull the tin to cover the hole, but you can still have access through the house.
All right.
And next slide, please. And 4B, that was taken by Mr. Green, 6/13/2024. And if you go to my slide 4C, you can still see deteriorating structure where the arrows are. They just need to secure that area.
So what do they need? Get the vegetation knocked down to 18 inches?
So this had nothing to do with the vegetation. It
So
was,
we're past vegetation?
yes, sir. It's just the open structure and then the
What's the
trash
trash and
debris.
debris in the yard?
It's right there. If you go to my 5C would be taken January 29th. Right there, they still have tires. There's a vacuum cleaner and some other stuff on the ground.
Okay. If you pick those items up and finish closing off the house, they'll be in compliance.
Yes, sir.
And they've made some progress in this.
They have. Yes, sir.
But the city's here apparently attempting to motivate them by asking for an order allowing the placement of a lien on the property. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And when would you record the lien?
It would be re-recorded, probably Friday of this
Okay.
week.
All right, last call for anyone who's a representative of Principal Partners Group LLC. Seeing and hearing no one and finding that there's been some evidence that Principal Partners has been trying to bring the property into compliance, but also finding evidence that the deteriorating structure still remains open and accessible, even though with ladders, but nonetheless open and accessible, which continues to be a violation of section 30-169 of the code. And finding that there still is some man-made debris in the yard, although a fairly minor amount of that still needs to be removed, that we're going to find that the violations still exist. And we're going to enter an order allowing the city to place an official lien on the property with the total amount of fines. Do you know what the total fines are today?
Yes, sir, I do. $7,125, sir.
And those fines are what the current lien is. Fines will continue to accrue at the rate of how much a day?
It was $50 now.
$50 a day until satisfaction of
Yes, sir.
compliance. See if you can get them motivated.
I have a
before-
question.
Sure.
Do we have to stick with the initial per diem lien amount of $50 per day? Because the statute authorizes us to go to $250 a day.
Were we doing it on a per violation basis?
This was per violation, yes, sir.
It was $50 a day?
Yes, sir.
All right. At the risk of complicating things, there were originally 3, right?
There was, sir.
Did you calculate?
I did, sir.
He took off
Yes,
as
sir.
they brought them into compliance.
We stopped the fines as of the 29th until this hearing, and the day that I took it over.
Well, I think Ms. West has a good point in the sense that once you put this lien on it, we kind of lose control of this. We do lose control of this. Is the city interested at all in giving them a little bit of a reduced fine from this date forward until?
No, sir, if he could have gave us a direct answer as to what he was going to do with the property, other than just let it sit, then I think we would have been more willing to work. But as of right now, he couldn't give us any direction other than that's how he was going to
Make
do
sure
it.
you try to contact them before Friday and give them a call if you know where they are. And tell
Yes,
them,
sir.
look, you know, this is what's going to happen on Friday. Well, you really don't want this lien to get into effect because otherwise you're going to go see the city commission.
Right, and that's what
Getting
we
that-
tried to do, sir. But I'll call him again.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir, that's all
All
I
right,
have.
we'll conclude the proceedings before the special magistrate at 2:33. Let me know when we're off.